The morning sun of Kepler 442b cast its amber glow through the crystalline dome of the Galactic Combat Academy. Instructor Vraxthal, a towering Krylline warrior with obsidian scales and 4 battle-scarred arms, surveyed the assembled students with his predatory yellow eyes. Today, his voice rumbled like distant thunder. You demonstrate your chosen weapon. Every warrior must understand their tools of survival. Farhat stood near the front, his chitinous Manthari exoskeleton gleaming under the artificial lights. In his primary claws, he gripped a plasma lance, standard issue for his species, capable of cutting through reinforced steel at 50 paces. Around him, other students clutched their ancestral weapons: molecular blades, gravity hammers, neural disruptors, and energy whips. Then there was Elsa. The human stood at the back of the formation, her small frame almost comical among the towering aliens. Her species had only joined the Galactic Federation 3 cycles ago, and rumors about humans were contradictory. Some said they were fragile. Others whispered that they were survivors of a death world, tough beyond reason. Farhat had been partnered with Elsa for tactical exercises. She was clever, he'd give her that. But physically, she stood barely to his thorax. "Present weapons," Vraxthal commanded. One by one, students activated their arsenals. Energy hummed. Blades sang. The air crackled with barely contained violence. When Vraxthal's gaze fell upon Elsa, the entire class fell silent. She held up a pen, not a laser pen. Not a molecular disassembler disguised as a writing instrument. Just a simple blue ink ballpoint pen with a chewed cap. Farhat's mandibles clicked in what might have been embarrassment for her. Several students released pheromones of amusement. A Yalthine in the 3rd row made a sound like water gurgling through pipes, laughter in their species. Human. Vraxthal's voice dripped with disdain. "You mock this exercise?" "No, sir." Elsa's voice was calm, steady. "You said bring a weapon. This is mine." The instructor's scales rippled, a Krylline display of irritation. "That is a writing implement." "Yes, sir. And also a weapon." Vraxthal's eyes narrowed. "Demonstrate." Elsa walked to the center of the training floor, her soft boots making barely a whisper against the polished surface. Farhat watched, his compound eyes tracking her every movement. What was she planning? "Farhat," Vraxthal gestured with one of his arms. "Engage the human." Non-lethal protocols. Farhat hesitated. He could crush her with one blow. But orders were orders. He activated his plasma lance to training mode. It would sting but not kill, and advanced. Elsa didn't move. She just watched him approach, the pen held loosely in her right hand. Farhat struck first, a probing thrust with his lance. Elsa sidestepped with minimal movement, efficient and precise. He struck again, faster. She ducked under the blow, her movements economical, wasting no energy. Then she moved. Elsa closed the distance between them in a heartbeat. Before Farhat could react, she had slipped inside his guard. The pen jabbed into the soft joint between his chest plates. Not deep enough to truly injure, but the pressure point made his entire left side spasm. His lance clattered to the floor. She spun behind him, the pen now pressed against the neural cluster at the base of his neck. One precise thrust there, even with something as primitive as a pen, and he'd be paralyzed for hours. "Yield?" she asked quietly. Farhat clicked his surrender. The match had lasted 4 seconds. The training room was silent. Elsa stepped back, helping Farhat retrieve his lance. Her expression held no triumph, no mockery. Just focus. Vraxthal's scales had stopped rippling. "Explain." Elsa held up the pen. "Every species here has access to advanced technology. Energy weapons, molecular blades. But what happens when your equipment fails? When you're captured and stripped of your arsenal? When you crash on a primitive world?" She walked slowly around the training floor, and Farhat noticed how every eye followed her. Humans learned to fight before we had metallurgy. We weaponized rocks, sticks, bones, anything we could find. A pen is just a modern version of an ancient principle. A sharp point, applied with precision and knowledge of anatomy, can disable any opponent. She stopped in front of a Gorthian student whose species was known for their armored hides. "Your species has that beautiful scale pattern on your throat. Purely decorative, I've read. But it also marks where your primary breathing tube is most vulnerable." The Gorthian unconsciously touched his throat. Elsa turned to a Veloxian whose 6 eyes blinked in sequence. "Your species has incredible vision. but your ocular nerves cluster right behind your third and fourth eyes. A precise strike there causes temporary blindness and disorientation. She addressed the class now, her voice carrying. A weapon isn't about the tool. It's about knowledge, adaptability, and willpower. Humans spent millennia learning to kill with anything at hand because on Earth, everything was trying to kill us first. We learned to turn our environment into an arsenal. Vraxthal approached her, his massive form towering over the small human. For a long moment, he simply stared down at her. Then slowly, his mandibles spread, a Krylene smile. "Human Elsa," he said, his voice carrying a note of respect that hadn't been there before. "You have taught this class more in 5 minutes than I have in 5 cycles. The deadliest weapon is not the one you carry, it is the one you become." Farhat retrieved his plasma lance, his respect for his human partner growing exponentially. He approached Elsa as the class dispersed for tactical drills. "That was impressive," he clicked. "But I must ask, why did you really bring just a pen?" Elsa grinned, and Farhat was surprised to find the expression somewhat predatory. "Honestly, I forgot about the weapons demonstration until this morning. This pen was in my pocket." She twirled it between her fingers. "But we humans have a saying. It's not about the size of the weapon in the fight, it's about the size of the fight in the warrior." As they walked to the next exercise, Farhat made a mental note to never ever underestimate humans again, or their office supplies. End.